Greetings, gang. All right, it's lunchtime, and I'm going to qualify this video right off the get-go. It's a pretty heavy subject, so if you're not interested in listening to something like that, maybe come back later. All right, just making a point. Throughout our lives, we have all had to cope with grief, okay? Whether it's a loss of a pet, a loss of a sibling, a parent, a spouse. Maybe you've gone through a divorce, lost a job, something. I'm going to tell you this right now. It ain't going to get any better in an SHTF situation. And how you navigate grief is going to be very important for your own mental health, for your own physical health. Okay. You should prepare for it now, because most of those events are going to happen sometime in your life. Chances are. Okay. If you have pets, you're going to lose a pet. You or your siblings, one of you are going to die before the other. Chances are you're going to lose a parent before you go. I don't wish divorce on anybody. It sucks. Been there, done that. But it happens to about half the marriages in the country. Losing a spouse, well, that's a 50-50 shot, whether you go first or your spouse goes first. But we all have to deal with it. And like I said, in an SHTF situation, it's going to come faster than you think. Starvation's going to run rampant. You're going to have violence that's going to take people, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer here by any means, but this is a topic that nobody wants to talk about, and I felt that it was necessary to talk about this one. How you take care of yourself after some sort of event is crucial. And I'm going to give you some suggestions, right? Drowning your sorrows in a bottle, I don't care what the scenario is not a good idea. Joining whomever is not a good idea, because there are other people that still are going to rely on you. There are other people, other pets, whatever, that still love you. Don't go down those paths, all right? I've been through some of them. I don't want to go through any more, but I know they're going to come eventually. And I need to prepare myself, just like you need to prepare yourself to handle it. I'm not saying become cold-hearted. I'm not saying to ignore it. I'm not saying to pretend. But you need to figure out how to cope. And acceptance is the last stage of grieving, not the first one. But I'll give you some ideas. After any sort of event, maybe you have to change your daily routine, but you need to create a daily routine. It's going to be hard to go to sleep. All of a sudden, that person that was laying next to you for 20, 30, 40 years isn't there anymore. But you need to go to bed at the same time. You need to get up at the same time. You need to shower. You need to go make that cup of coffee. You need to establish a routine. Wallowing in sorrow is not going to make that person come back, or that dog come back, or that cat. Okay? Whether it's by death or divorce, or moving away, losing a friend because they moved across the country, whatever. You need to talk about this. You need to discuss your feelings with, whether it's friends, family, your pastor, your priest, your rabbi, whatever. Okay. If it gets to the point of needing professional help, you need to seek it out. Mental health professionals is somebody that's really not talked about in a mag. But they're probably going to be one of the most important people, because everybody's going to deal with grief. Nothing's going to be perfect. Contrary to popular belief, you are not going to be sitting on your porch with shotgun in hand and a glass of lemonade watching the world collapse around you, going, I've got everything taken care of. Life doesn't work that way. You need to take care of yourself. You need to continue to eat. You need to continue hygiene. You need to continue to exercise. A good solution that I was told years back was journaling. Writing down your feelings. If it's a loss by death, writing a letter to that person. Journaling out. This is what happened in my day-to-day. It's therapeutic. It's helpful. Okay. I say these things not because there's anything going wrong here at the moment. Mrs. P's fine. The puppies are fine. PBJ's fine. Everything. Okay. No questions there. But I say this because of all the things we've talked about here in the last few days, acid thrown in the face of somebody in Hawaii, shootings in New York, shootings in Miami, people dying in floods, Kerrville. There are people that are grieving. And again, it's not one of those situations where, oh, it just happened to somebody else. It's not going to happen to me. There's two certainties in life, death and taxes. Taxes will cause you to grieve a little bit. Death a lot more. None of us is promised tomorrow. Every single person on this planet has dealt with grief in one way or another. How they cope with it is the big difference. There's a lot of keyboard Rambos out there that have never experienced what they think they want. Oh, I'm just going to sit on my front porch and pick them off like they're silhouettes. Well, there's somebody on the other side that's thinking the same thing. And when it turns out that they took a son, a daughter, a parent, a spouse, a cousin, an aunt, an uncle, friend, all of a sudden you are in that situation. And how do you deal with it? This isn't the Garden of Eden. Everything isn't perfect. Death is a certainty. Grief is a certainty. If you don't grieve, you've got a cold heart. You will. It's okay to cry. It's okay to be emotional. It's okay to seek help. Like I said, I've been through it. I was a zombie for months. And eventually, you get the intestinal fortitude to say, I can't do this anymore. I've got to move on. Today is another day. People go to bed and, Lord, please take me away. That's not a solution. Think about this as you're driving, as you're out working in the yard, as you're cooking dinner, as you're taking a shower, when you've got a couple of minutes to yourself. Spend a little time preparing yourself mentally, because you're going to have to deal with it. And so is everybody else around you. I pray none of us ever have to, but I know that prayer is not possible. One day we will all meet, at least most of us, upstairs, and we can sit around and talk about these stories. But until then, you got to keep your head straight. Love the ones that are around you, because none of us are promised tomorrow. Pinball out.